Hi, welcome to Sourcemap. This is Leo from the Sourcemap team. I'm going to show you today how to make a map of a simple product in just a few minutes. So the first thing to do when you visit sourcemap.org is to log in, as I have, and you'll see a number of buttons on the right. They allow you to make maps using different templates. Today we'll be using the product template, so you click on Make a Product Map. And this takes us to the introduction screen. This is just a place to make a title, an assembly location, and a description. You can always change these values later. So today I'll be mapping a Nestle bottle of water called Pure Life, and that's a half-liter bottle, so I'm going to specify that in the source map name. Next, the point of assembly on the label states Greenwich, Connecticut, so I'm going to enter that information, wait for some feedback. That's showing me that Sourcemap knows what I mean. And now this value is on the label. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but it's still a good starting point. And then finally, I want to add a description. This is a new type of bottled water. This is what Nestle claims on the label. It uses 30% less plastic than before. And we're going to see how much of an impact that's going to have on the overall footprint. Next, I click Create a Source Map. And that takes me to the object creation dialog. This is how most source maps will look. And as it loads, you see here that the title and the assembly location appear in the top. We have a number of different options for using the map up here on the right. And this is the Made Of dialog, which is sort of the list of ingredients for the product. And the Edit Source Map tab is highlighted. That means that I'm in the edit mode. When I save the map, you'll see that that disappears. Okay, so we're presented with the Add a Part dialog. Now this is a way to search through the catalog of materials and carbon footprints that Sourcemap contains to find what's in the product and try to approximate the footprint. Now I know the biggest part of the bottle of water is the water, and so I type in water in the search dialog, and I see different types of water, imported and local. Now I know this water comes from upstate New York, so I'm going to click to add that material to the Made Of list. And I'm going to say it's from Buffalo, New York. And I know that it weighs about half a kilo because it's half a liter of water. Now you see here the embodied energy. Now that's the energy it takes to make the water, which is mostly in the filtering process, is about 0.1 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of water. And then it ships about 480 kilometers. And since this is in the US, I'm assuming it ships by truck. And over here we get an idea of the footprint that water alone produces, about 50 grams of CO2 equivalent or global warming contribution just to make the water, and another 10 grams of CO2 to ship it to Connecticut. Now moving on to the next material, I can add it either by clicking this plus up on the upper right or the Add Part tab here on the left. Now the next biggest material is the bottle itself. It's made of a plastic called PET. That's that clear plastic that Coke bottles are made of. And I know that food grade plastics have to be virgin. They can't be recycled. So I'm going to select this virgin PET and add that. Now most plastics in the US come from China. I'm not sure where, so I'm just going to say China. And I've weighed the bottle. It weighs about 10 grams. Now the embodied energy is already filled in, and I'm going to assume that it traveled by container ship. Okay, now I'm going to add another part. This is the next biggest part, I think, which is the bottle cap. So that's probably made of a plastic called polypropylene. And as I type that in, I can see here polypropylene comes in a recycled or virgin, and I'm going to add some virgin polypropylene. Again, I think it comes from China. The weight should be somewhere around 1 gram, and again by container ship. And finally I'm going to add the fourth and final part, which is the label, which is probably a plastic called polystyrene, and I'm going to add that. Now I know that's a very small contributor to the overall footprint, probably because it weighs a little less than 1 gram, and so no matter how it's shipped, it probably won't figure into the totals. Okay, now that I've added all my parts, I can click on the upper left to save the map, and this gives me a condensed list of all the parts, how much they each weigh, and what their overall contribution is to the footprint of the product. On the right is the receipt. That shows that the overall footprint, carbon footprint of the bottle of water is about 100 grams of CO2, and it weighs just a little more than 500 grams. So that means that's quite a low footprint overall. Travels about 35,000 kilometers over the course of its manufacturing, has about 80 grams of energy of CO2 embodied. That means to make the raw materials themselves, and it adds about 10 more grams of CO2 to get those materials shipped around the world. Now I can find out what the impact would be of shipping to my location. So for example, right now I'm in Boston, so I can type Boston into this dialog and say that it probably travels by automobile to see if that adds anything. It doesn't seem to be increasing the carbon footprint. Now if I was in Los Angeles, sorry about that, California, and I had it air freighted to me, that would add about 2 kilos of CO2, so it would blow everything out of proportion. Okay, some more things I can do. I can close this made of window. That allows me to get a view at the whole map. I can zoom into the map by double clicking, very much like a Google map. I can also look at different ways to visualize the data by clicking on this charting tab. Now in this case it shows me the impact, the contribution of each of the parts to the overall impact. So we see here that the water and its shipping are the biggest contributor to the footprint, followed by the plastic for the bottle itself. And I can always bring back my parts list. I can re-edit everything. That allows me to add a lot more information. And I can also make the map public or private so that it won't come up on searches done on the site. One last thing, once I've made this map, I can share it. So by clicking on the share button, I have a number of options. I can embed a map, so that will put an interactive map widget that looks very much like this on any site or blog or social network. I just copy this code and paste it. Also, you can find links to print the source map, to look at it in high resolution, or even to look at it in Google Earth if you have that plugin enabled. Alright, well that's it for today, and I'll be back soon with more instructional videos. Thanks for visiting Sourcemap.